Speak less and listen more.
Leadership is kindness.
I was actually elected to the Saskatchewan High School Athletics Association as women's representative.
Oh, Vicki Moore. I love Vicki Moore. She's so kind.
Never be afraid. Nike has the best slogan. It's just do it.
Attended the Women in Sport conference last year, and I saw you there.
If you worked really hard, didn't matter what your dreams and goals were, set your sights high. And, even if you don't hit high, you'll land in the stars, right?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Sunnyside podcast. This is our second episode, and we are so excited. My name is Julia Wiens. I'm a grade 12 student from Beachy School.
My name is Yevheniia Taranukha. I'm a grade 10 student from Bigger 2000.
And my name is Izzy Alexander. I'm a grade 10 student at Davidson High School.
Today, for the Sunnyside podcast, we have our amazing guest, Vicki Moore. Hi, Vicki Moore.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited to be here with all of you today.
Yes, thank you so much for being willing to do this. We really appreciate
Absolutely.
it. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
That's good. So, you used to work in the school division.
Mm-hmm.
Can you walk us through your role, and can you describe what a typical day would look like for you?
All right, so I did all of my education career in SunWest School Division. So I've been a teacher, I've been a principal, I've been a superintendent. I did lots of coaching with our student athletes. And then my career ended when I was in role of the director. At that point, then I decided to retire.
That's so cool.
So you're wondering what the director does.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Okay. So the director is what they call the Chief Executive Officer and works very closely with the Board of Education, which is our elected trustees. So the director is very accountable for ensuring that the board's trained in their role, but also living out the policies that they create for the school division. So that includes things like student and staff wellness, making sure that our schools are safe and caring places. It involves the learning, so that all the students that go through SunWest School Division have an opportunity to reach their potential and go out into society being excellent contributing citizens. It involves fiscal responsibility, so that means all the funds that come to SunWest, we have to make sure that it's carefully thought out so that anything that we have is maximizing things for students and families and our staff. And then it involves working with a number of people here in the division office. So we have the learning side of education, but then we have a lot of departments that support it to ensure that it goes smoothly. So things like human resources, transportation, technology, facilities. I worked with senior administrators. So it's quite an interesting and very extensive job, I would say.
Yeah, it seems like it. So if someone was creating like a field trip or whatever, would that form that the parents need to sign or the teachers fill out, would that come to you? Or who would that go to?
So the director works with a very talented group of senior administrators, and they're called the superintendents. Mm-hmm. Things that happen at the school level are mostly dealt with by the principals, but sometimes they need approval for certain pieces, like out-of-province trips or whatever, mm-hmm. certain field trips. So then that would come to the superintendents. So the superintendents have a cluster of schools that they're responsible, and they usually handle most of those kinds of things.
Okay.
Now, Vicki, looking back, what do you think you most appreciated about your time in this role?
Well, there were a couple things. It was definitely the relationships and the people that I worked with. We have over 4,000 wonderful students, and then we have, it's over 800, I think the number would be, of teachers and support staff. And I loved getting to know all the folks when I could go out to the schools and just have conversations. An important role of the director is to listen and hear, like, what are the students saying? What are our support staff saying? Our teachers, our parents, going to SCC meetings. So it was all those relationships that I loved. I loved when I could go out to the schools and spend time with folks. The other thing, and some people might think this is a little strange, but I loved the strategic planning. And so the director is quite responsible for the vision of the school division. So that means, who are we and where do we want to go? And so they work with the director, they work with their senior admin team to kind of there's a vision and we all collaborate and work together so that our students and families and staff can have the best experience. So I love that idea of putting what could learning look like, what could well-being look like, and then taking it out to the stakeholders. I really believed in hearing people and collaborating. So what do they want for their families? What are your hopes and dreams? And then putting that into some kind of plan that we had to be accountable to, that we had to measure. And if we were doing a good job, then our students were getting the best opportunity. And I love that.
Your thing about connections, I just want a quick story. I remember in grade 3, we had a heritage fair at my school, and you came and you sat at my booth and you let me tell you all about my booth, and I was talking about my family history, and it is like one of my core memories from school because I just felt so seen and so heard, and I just want to thank you for that because you're so welcoming and you're so kind to like everyone you meet. So I just want to say that, and I just remember that, and I'm like, oh, Vicki Moore, I love Vicki Moore, she's so kind. Like, yeah.
Well, and if I remember correctly, you did a really great job.
Oh, thank you. Grade 3 Julia would be very happy to hear that. How has your role as director made you a better person outside of work?
Well, it's the working with people for sure. And one of the things I learned as a director, there were lots of good things where you could celebrate really happy things and go to schools and, all the positives, but sometimes things would go awry. And it was really learning to speak less and listen more. Because when things aren't going well, when people are upset or not at their best, it usually comes from a place of fear or lack of confidence or not understanding something. So it was really about, instead of judging, just ask questions and listen. And usually it was legitimate and you could work together to find a way to help the person. And I use that in life now all the time. It's seek to understand. Don't judge, ask questions and listen.
Yeah. Do you have any tips on active listening and like just focusing more on listening rather than being quick to answer and respond?
No, you're exactly right. Don't be quick to respond. Listen and try to understand. Rephrase things. If you don't understand, ask the person. And approach everything with kindness and compassion. That goes a long way. And when people are really in a bad place, they need that more than anything.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Let's shift gears a little bit. So
For sure.
I would just like to say that today is National Women in Sport Day.
It is.
Which is so awesome. And I saw that on Facebook this morning and I was like, that's so cool because I attended the Women in Sport conference last year and I saw you there.
Yeah.
So I'd just like to know, what was your role in that?
So around, I think it was 2004, I was actually elected to the Saskatchewan High School Athletics Association as women's representative.
Oh, wow.
So it was really a neat opportunity. The sports community is so passionate and so encouraging. And I had this dream for a long time, and I was thinking of young Vicki as the student athlete. Mm-hmm. And what would have I enjoyed doing? And it was things like networking with other female athletes in the province and getting to know the coaches and the student athletes. And so I proposed to the executive of the time, could we do a Women in Sports conference? And I didn't know what it would look like at the time. Mm-hmm. But they granted me that opportunity. So we put together, and you would know about this, the opportunity for girls across the province. And we really wanted diverse groups, urban, rural, up north, down south, everybody to come in. Mm-hmm. And it was about playing, first and foremost, getting to play the sports you love. It was about learning about leadership, because a lot of times in our schools we have our female athletes dropping out early, and we need the leadership to help encourage them to stay in. And the coaches could come along, so it was about them building a network and then bringing in Husky athletes, and they were so gracious to come. These are people that have learned so much through sport and they could mentor our young people. So we were lucky enough to have that opportunity. Since then, it's held every 2 years. So I was on the executive for 4 years. So for 2 years I hosted. And then every other year the women's rep has been kind enough to invite me back for different roles, and it's been awesome.
That's really cool.
The SA is like a really big part of like schools and like sports. But when you went to school, like was there any sports that you enjoyed?
Oh,
playing?
all of them. So I grew up here in Rosetown. So, you know, in rural schools, a lot of times everybody has to play everything, so you have a team, but I wanted to play everything. So I played every sport except football. Couldn't play football. We played flag football at noon hour.
Oh, yeah.
But I was involved in every sport I could be in, and I just loved it.
Did you ever end up getting like a banner in any of those sports?
Yes, if you go over to the high school right now, the only basketball banner that's hanging up there is the one my team got in, I hate to say this date, 1979.
Ooh,
A long time ago. But
okay.
yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What is your favorite high school sport memory?
Oh, there's so many of them. We had a really strong basketball team that year that we won the banner, and it was just, we had a wonderful coach, and we had a team, we had good chemistry, we all got along, and we played throughout the province. He took us everywhere, and we had such a successful and happy year. So I would say that team stood out, but there's lots of fond memories.
Yeah, I bet. If you had any advice for young girls, even young boys, just elementary students going up into high school sports and being afraid to start, what would you tell them?
Never be afraid. Nike has the best slogan. It's just do it. There's great people. We have great staff in the school division that will support young athletes. There's all kinds of opportunities in the province now. There's camps. There's all kinds of support for student athletes, especially girls. There's a few things that wasn't there, that weren't there when I was going to school, but just do it. And if you have that passion in your heart, you can take it as far as you want. Just do it. Go out and do it.
And that applies to more than sport even, like just life. But yeah, what is your favorite memory from the Women in Sport Conference?
Well, again, there were a few, but I'll never forget, we kind of put this thing together, and we had handpicked the first time. It was a pilot project, and we really wanted representation from all over the province. So for the kids way up north that maybe wouldn't get the chance to come that far south into the province. But it was when we had set everything up at the university. We did a partnership with the U of S. Elaine Humbert, shout out to her. She was Louise Humbert. She was so phenomenal in supporting us. So we held it at the U of S, and it has rotated between Regina and Saskatoon. But when the girls got there and unloaded, and some of them had never been to the university campus before, and that's my campus, I'm so proud of it, and they never stayed in dorms before, and they got to meet kids from out the province, how happy they were. That is one of the best memories. And then the second one, the first Women in Sport conference we did out in the bowl, so that's the center out at the U of S outside, and I put together an amazing race. And we got the kids doing all these challenges. Then they had to scoot around the university for more clues, the campus. And it was so good to see coaches and these student athletes from all over the province and Husky athletes. And there were students on campus at the time, university students, and they were stopping to watch. And we had the dean of kinesiology, and we had Louise there. And it was just such a wonderful moment where folks were just engaged in play and supporting each other, and it was just so happy.
That's so awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah,
I love it when stuff like that happens. It's amazing.
A big part of high school, like for me now, is like leadership and being able to like show my leadership skills. Were there any moments like for you in high school where you showed like a lot of leadership, I guess?
I loved school. I loved going to school. I loved everything about the school community. I loved learning since a young age. I loved learning. And so when I went to school, so back at the time there was Walter Asseltine School, and then where the high school is now, it was Division 3, and it was grades 7 to 9. And then our civic center was our grade 10 to 12. And once we kind of moved from elementary over to Division 3, that's where we got a lot of chance to be on the school leadership team, so I did that. We had Red Cross. Every group that we had in the school I belonged to, and I played every sport. So I believe being involved in those school programs, the extracurricular pieces, maybe I wasn't directly leading something, maybe I was just a part of it, but all those experiences taught me so much about leadership, about working with people, about communicating properly. So absolutely all those things, you know, I took part in everything that I could, and I learned so much, and I attribute a lot of that to where I ended up in life.
Leadership is kindness. How do you like keep kind and like show kindness?
Just caring about people and just realizing we all have a story, right? Sometimes we talk about we all carry a backpack, and you never know what's in somebody's backpack. So just seeking to understand, caring about people, just wanting to lift people up, taking care of those you serve. That's just it's always been important to me and part of who I am, I think.
Now, this is from my favorite podcast, but they ask this on every single episode. What is the best piece of advice you have received or seen somewhere?
The best piece of advice is, I think, probably from one of my former teachers, my phys ed teacher, Mr. Du Bois, and it was about just being myself and going after your goals. That if you worked really hard, didn't matter what your dreams and goals were, you know, set your sights high, and you know, even if you don't hit high, you'll land in the stars, right? So it was like working hard, having integrity, working hard for your goals.
That's really, really good.
And I appreciated my teachers for that. I had wonderful teachers along the way.
Yes. Sunwest has great teachers.
They certainly
I've
do.
never had a bad teacher.
No.
Whoever hires them does very well.
Yeah, they do. And what I can say about Sunwest is we are, in terms of geography, like we're huge. Like how we're spread out, like from Bigger all the way down to Kyle, and then almost to the Alberta border in Davidson. But we're like a family. And that was one thing I was very fortunate to be a part in Sunwest, that, you know, the principal group is strong, the teachers group is strong, the superintendents really care about everybody. We know everybody. We care about the kids, and that's important.
Yeah, that's what I really appreciate about being a student in Sunwest, is just how much everybody cares. Like, there's not a moment that I walked into school and felt like nobody cared. Or whatever. Even coming to these division meetings, everyone has a smile on their face, no matter what they're going through. Like, everyone's just so kind.
I'm happy to hear that.
It's so amazing.
We have great staff at the school level and at the division level too.
Looking back at like your position, like working in like the division office, was there like a moment that really stuck out to you and made this job be like, wow, like I'm actually like this important?
I guess it was always about supporting people, and there were lots of moments. So the work that I was most directly involved in was the strategic plan, building that. So thinking, how do we best help our staff? And then when I would see that students succeeded, did well in different, provincial level competitions, or a teacher led a really great project, or a principal brought something really interesting to the school, I just thought, I hope that the work we're doing here led to that, and I just felt so happy. So, and the leadership, being in the role of director, all leadership is a privilege, and I just felt so privileged to have all the opportunities I did.
Well, we really appreciate having you on the podcast, Vicki, and thank you so much again for playing such a pivotal role in Sunwest and the Women in Sport Conference.
Thank you so much, and you guys keep doing the good work that you're doing. Working with the leadership team, all of our students, was such a joy, and you guys, I watch now on Instagram, and you're doing fantastic things. So thank you, and keep up the excellent work.
Thank you so much. And to our listeners, don't forget to stay on the sunny side and stay tuned for upcoming episodes. And that's the end.